from items such as increased revenues from tariffs, as well.
I ended NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made in the history of our country, and replaced it with the USMCA, perhaps the best trade deal ever made in history. That's Mexico and Canada. I stood up to China like no one else before me. No one came even close. And I saved the U.S. auto industry from obliteration with a 27.5% tariff on all Chinese cars that remains in place to this day. They want to take it off, but they can't because, number one, it's too much money, and number two, we would be invaded by Chinese cars on top of the other invasions that are taking place. Without it, our auto industry would be dead.
Of sanctions. And given that China is our major trading partner with our largest imbalance.
I always put America first, every single time. And when our country was hit by the China virus, we saved the economy. We rescued tens of millions of jobs. And after COVID, I handed Kamala and Joe the fastest and strongest recovery ever recorded, nothing even close. With 1.4% inflation, the 30-year mortgage rate was at 2.4%, and the highest stock market in history. This is despite the pandemic.
Our foreign policy objectives, but they also have economic implications. And
we will have no tax on tips, something which they copied 4 weeks after I said it. She got up and said, no tax on tips. I said, I just said that. She is actually copying a lot of my plan. In fact, we're going to send her a MAGA cap sometime in the next week. We're having a special one made.
Trump, in the last fiscal year, the fiscal deficit under the Biden administration.
She and her party are censoring speech, weaponizing the justice system, and trying to throw their political opponents, me, in jail. This hasn't happened. I didn't do that to crooked Hillary. I said, that would be a terrible thing, wouldn't it? Putting the wife of the President of the United States in jail. But they view it differently, I guess, nowadays, but that's okay.
Income on childcare. One thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common is that
for the last 50 years, we've been pouring our money into other countries, getting nothing for it. We protect them militarily. We do so much for them. We get nothing. My plan is that if you open your factory in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, anywhere else in our country, you don't pay a tariff tax. You don't pay a tax. You're going to make the product here.
These programs have been used, as you well know, to advance our national security.
For 18 months, I spoke to the leader of the Taliban. The press was very upset that I spoke to him. His name is Abdul. I said, Abdul, don't do this, Abdul. Don't do this. But why, he said, do you send me a picture of my home? I said, Abdul, you're going to have to figure that one out for yourself. But don't do this, Abdul, because it's going to end badly for you. And for 18 months, we didn't have one soldier shot at or killed in Afghanistan.
National security threat to the United States. How can we better institute?
If Kamala is allowed to continue to let our country be invaded, we will face a fiscal Armageddon. These migrants are consuming hundreds of billions of dollars in benefits.
The Ukrainian, their invasion of Ukraine, where for once we got the support.
You saw in Colorado this week a group from Venezuela, rough ones. They took over large sections of a town, large sections of an area of Colorado. Aurora. Has anyone been there? I think you'd better stay away for a little while. They had AK-47s, the ultimate guns, AK-47s. They can blow lots of people away real fast. And the sheriff didn't want to touch him. Nobody wants to touch him. Sheriff, there's 18 Venezuelans attacking my building. Would you please come over and straighten out the situation? He's got a deputy. You know what they say? Well, no thanks. Let's call in the military. They're taking over.
It was approximately $2 trillion. Under the policies you've announced,
Next year, I'm going to suggest that the Economic Club hold its meeting in Caracas because we'll be safer than we are in our country if they win. We'll be far safer. But crime in Venezuela is down 72% because they've taken all of their criminals off the streets. Not all of them. They still have some left, but they're coming in rapidly by bus and by plane. They're coming into our country, and we're dumping them in our country. And they say, if you come back, we will kill you. And they're not going back. We got them. But they're going back if I'm president, I guarantee you that. They're going back fast.
The question is, would you strengthen or modify any of these economic sanctions?
Putin came out today, he endorsed Kamala. And I didn't know, was I supposed to call him up and say, thank you very much, I appreciate it. But he endorsed Kamala. I have a feeling, I don't know. I don't know exactly what to say about that. I don't know if I'm insulted or he did me a favor. But we have to get along.